Dirt Trax is sponsored by Can-Am. The ride says it all. Polaris, the world leader in off-road innovation. And by Yamaha. Conquer Outdoors.
The entire off-road industry continues to look to Polaris for the next big thing. Why? Because Polaris Innovation has launched more new technologies and more new segments in the side-by-side and ATV industry than all the other OEMs. So what's the latest next big thing? The Polaris Sportsman ACE single-seat side-by-side. We're going to save you the trouble and put this out there first thing. Absolutely everyone wants to know, what is it? Or maybe more specifically, why did Polaris develop the ACE? The answer is both simple and complicated. The ACE is a groundbreaking, completely new way to off-road. However, it is packaged in a familiar way so virtually anyone with any off-road experience can jump on, or rather jump in, an ACE and have fun in a new and comfortable way. The other question we get asked about the ACE is, what's it like to drive? Obviously, the ACE is the literal melding together of an ATV and a side-by-side. Its rider dynamics, in our opinion, are similar to an ATV. However, its control inputs and operation are decidedly more like a side-by-side. There's another aspect to the ACE which gives it exceptional traction with certain buyers. Persons with a minor or major physical challenge can often operate an ACE. Understand this. This appeal is not the sole reason Polaris built the ACE. On the other hand, we're hearing more and more examples of how the ACE is making friends with people who don't want to be a passenger in a side-by-side and don't want to ride an ATV. They want the smaller size of an ATV and the comfort and ease of operation of a side-by-side. If you're thinking the ACE might be too sedentary for your tastes, you need to ask yourself this question. Are you a RZR or a Ranger customer if you're going to buy a side-by-side? Clearly, in our opinion, the ACE is more RZR than Ranger. There's a true pure sport heart in the ACE. With last year's introduction of the 570 and this year's announcement for model year 2016 that there will be a 900cc ProStar twin putting out 65 horsepower, make no mistake about this, you can rip in the ACE. The underpinnings of the ACE are a blend of Sportsman ATV and Polaris RZR side-by-side. The engine placement is side-by-side, while the front and rear suspension are ATV derived. The cockpit is ACE exclusive by its solo nature. However, there's much in common with a Polaris side-by-side here. The rear cargo box is not an ATV rack, and it's not a Ranger box. It's more RZR in form and function. Maybe you're wondering if the ACE has competition in the side-by-side or ATV market. Honestly, we think both no and yes. While there is no other single-seat side-by-side in the business right now, the ACE does directly compete with every ATV in the marketplace. Side-by-sides are taking the off-road market by storm, selling in bigger numbers every year since 2005. There's no doubt the incremental but steady decline of ATV sales is in part due to ATV buyers wanting more versatility, more practicality, and for the pure sport crowd, a different and engaging high-performance off-road experience. Side-by-sides answer all these questions and are selling to former and potential ATV buyers. The ACE answers these questions in a similar way, except for literally one thing: one driver, no passengers. The ultimate question we get asked about the ACE is this: can you rip on it? Yes, my power deranged friends, you most certainly can. The original ACE came with a 330cc 31 horsepower ProStar for motivation. Last year, Polaris made the 570 mid-40s horsepower ProStar available. Believe it or not, in model year 2016, you can get your ACE with a full-on 900cc twin-cylinder ProStar producing 65 horsepower that are guaranteed to kick your ACE. While we have not ridden the 900 ACE yet, we have raced the 570, and as a result, we have a pretty good idea how the 900 will perform. Here's what we know for sure. If more is better, then a lot more is a lot better. Clearly, an ACE equipped with adjustable dampers and possibly a move to a double wishbone front suspension could reinvigorate the rapidly shrinking pure sport ATV market. In fact, it's entirely feasible the ACE could become the single-seat twin of the formidable Polaris RZR XP1K. 144 ponies might sound ridiculous right now, but who would have believed the original 31 horsepower ACE in its third year would rock a 900 ProStar twin? Ultimately, you're going to have to ride, or actually drive, this very different yet very familiar off-road conveyance to determine whether or not it's your flavor. Know this, the ACE is not some flash-in-the-pan stab at a new market. By its very existence, the ACE is a new segment in the off-road industry. A new segment which, again, Polaris innovated and solely owns.
Dirt Trax is sponsored by Princess Auto, a unique world of equipment, tools, and more.
At Dirt Trax, we talk a lot about vehicle performance, the ATV industry, new technology, and interesting people we've met along the way. And these things are both interesting and important. But there is no question, there's another topic out there that is more important and more interesting than all of these things combined. Safe and responsible ATV use is what will ensure a long, enjoyable future for the ATV industry. It's something many of us take for granted, but it's also a topic that can come up and slap you right in the face if you're not paying attention. And this hit home here recently when a young family acquaintance of one of our crew members was killed only a few miles from our headquarters while riding an adult ATV unsupervised. After the accident, we spent a lot of time talking about what happened and, more importantly, how it could have been prevented. With a little research, we were able to confirm exactly what we had all been feeling. ATVing is a very safe sport when enjoyed responsibly and when common sense is used generously. But when common sense and responsibility are missing, things can get ugly. So what is safe and responsible ATVing? Simply put, it's planning ahead for what could happen while doing your best to avoid these scenarios altogether. To do this, you have to understand the riding scenarios and circumstances that most commonly lead to injury or death. And the first is the most important and should be the most obvious, but sadly, oftentimes it is not. Drinking alcohol or taking drugs before or while you ride is the absolute worst idea an ATVer can have. We know there's still a lingering culture of acceptance for drinking and riding in the sport of ATVing. We just don't know why. There was a time when it was the norm, regardless of what type of vehicle you drove. But through education, awareness, and the enforcement of new laws, the vast majority of off-road riders have come to embrace the concept of zero tolerance for drug and alcohol use while riding their ATVs. For those not in that majority, we have this to say. If you want to enjoy your day of ATVing and live to see another one, the number one thing you can do is leave the drinking till after the bikes are parked at the end of the day. There is no argument here. It's a fact, backed up by mountains of legitimate statistics. Drinking and riding is bad, and if you value your life or the lives of the ones you ride with, you need to make sure it's not happening in your group. The second thing you can do to protect yourself and the ones you ride with from serious injury or worse is to wear a helmet and insist the people you ride with do the same. This one's all about common sense, and we honestly cannot figure out why people continue to ride helmetless. Statistics say that if you don't wear a helmet, you're approximately 70% more likely to die in an accident that would have otherwise left you injured but alive had you been wearing one. In other words, if you're in an accident, you're more likely to walk away with a broken bone than die if you are wearing a helmet. But you're more likely to die if you aren't. With or without a broken bone, it doesn't really matter because you're dead. Where I grew up, wearing a helmet was the law, both a real law and a Lester law. No Lester ever rode any motorized vehicle without a helmet on. Whether it was an ATV, a snowmobile, a side-by-side, a dirt bike, heck, even a scooter or a moped, it didn't matter. You know what? We do all have scars, but we're all also still here to tell about them. The reasons I hear people give for not wearing a helmet are literally mind-boggling. From improved audible and visual awareness to simply feeling the freedom of the wind in your hair, I've heard it all, and none of it adds up in the end. The third way we can make ATVing significantly safer and ensure there's another generation of ATVers to ride with in the future is to keep our kids off of ATVs they're too small to ride. The statistics surrounding kids riding adult ATVs are staggering. The scenario is like a ticking time bomb, and nobody wants it to be their kid on the ATV when the clock finally runs out. There are very good reasons manufacturers have age restrictions on the vehicles they produce. Full-size ATVs are simply too big, too powerful, and, most importantly, too heavy for small kids to handle. As parents, we would do anything to protect our kids. In this case, all parents need to do is say no. Your kids might feel mad at you for a while, but you have to be alive to feel mad, so it's worth it. If there's one thing we hope ATVers in general will all understand, it's this. We are all connected, whether you want to be or not. Some riders figure that because they only ride in small groups, on private property, or a long way from the public eye, it doesn't really matter what they do. No one will either know or care, and nothing they do affects anyone else. But the truth is, when something bad happens, it goes on record as an ATV incident, and it does affect us all. Whether you ride public trails, private trails, or just around your camp, miles from civilization, you represent every ATVer in the market. So, as the late John Mazenberg used to say at the end of every episode, ride safe, ride sober, and we'll see you next week on Dirt Trax TV.
Dirt Trax is sponsored by Eastern Ontario Trails Alliance. Your backyard just got bigger.
Time and again on Dirt Trax, we show you cool extreme builds because we like to go outside of the box. However, the best update that you can do to your stock ATV or side-by-side is give it a new pair of shoes. And that's precisely what we're going to be doing with the help from our friends at ITP, the rim and tire brand we trust to not only make us look good, but take our project vehicles' performance to the next level. And on today's episode, I don't just have one rig to update the rubber and rims on, but two equally different vehicles with different riding disciplines. And up first is the Yamaha Wolverine R-Spec. Right up front, I wanted to pick a new rim, not just because the stock rims say absolutely nothing about the rider and are the plainest looking in the industry, but because they're made out of steel. Steel rims are decently strong, and that's where the benefits end. No one wants rusted rims on their ride, so I opted for the 12-inch Storm Series Hurricane rims. Why the Hurricanes? Well, the 8 sets of interlaced wheel spokes not only make this a freaking sweet looking rim, it offers a mind-blowing 1,200 pounds of load capacity per rim, and much better for rough trail riding, something we can't say about the steel wheels. Tire choice is just as important as making sure that you have a good rim. And when you have a good rim and tire package, you're going to be blown away with just how different your rig is going to work and play. The Terracross tires from ITP are a Dirt Trax favorite, as they truly deliver a wide range of off-road capabilities. Built from a rubber compound that is much tougher than many tires on the market, this added toughness means your Terracrosses will be around for more miles, while wraparound shoulder lugs actually grip the side of ruts and help propel you forwards. And the interlocking tread pattern and sharp-edged block rubber provides unmatched grip. Round 2 features a different vehicle. While still trail focused, the Wildcat Trail is lighter, 10 inches narrower, and features a much higher horsepower motor, making it a great contender to get a little more aggressive. While our trail is a limited and comes with nicely equipped wheels, the base model leaves more to be desired, and a wheel upgrade from base gives you the ability to pick what you want for how you ride. The Black Ops SS216 14-inch rims look tough in their matte black paint and offer more than great aesthetics. 1,000-pound load ratings, inner rock armor lip, as well as an outer lip reinforcement mean they will be around for the abuse you deliver. And a lifetime structural warranty against bending or breakage means ITP backs it up. With the wheels perfectly fit to the trail's attitude, the tire choice in my books is an easy one, aggressive with no compromise. A tire we haven't used for a while but have a lot of love for is the Mud Lite XTR. It was the industry's first extreme terrain radial, and it continues to deliver top-notch performance on any trail conditions, and especially when those trails turn a little muddy. At 1 inch bigger than stock, the 27-inch XTRs are going to add a little bit of ground clearance as well as some grip, and they're also going to optimize the 700's healthy horsepower. With 1 1/8 inch angled lugs, you've got grip at all times, while the 14-inch diameter offers a lower profile sidewall that reduces tire roll and flex, meaning that you can take your trail to its limits and the XTR is not going to be what holds you back. Got mud? No problem. Heck, this is a Mud Lite after all, and due to its radial core design, it delivers a smoother ride even with the aggressive lug pattern. When upgrading the wheels and tires on your side-by-side, make sure that you're doing it for more than just good looks. Make sure that you're doing it to get the best performance possible out of your side-by-side in the specific application that you use it in most. And with ITP, they sell a wide variety of wheels and tires that'll meet your specific needs.
Closed captioning of Dirt Trax is sponsored by Triton Trailer, built for adventure.
We've said it many times, and here it is again. It's nearly impossible to beat a company who's continually beating themselves. Specifically, how do you outdo Polaris when Polaris keeps outdoing their own products? The answer is, at least for now, you don't. There's a very good reason why Polaris owns #1 market share in the side-by-side industry. They obsolete vehicles faster than their competition can even attempt to release competing models. The Ranger 570 is a great example. Last season, I tested the mid-size 570 and was very clear that I felt it was one of the best values in the industry. I liked everything about that vehicle other than its lack of a tilt steering wheel. This season, Polaris completely revamped this model from the ground up. Does it actually do anything better on the trail? Not really. Is it more capable? Yes, a little. Overall, is it better? Absolutely. But I think the most interesting aspect of Polaris's rework of the 570 Ranger is that despite a longer list of standard features and its complete visual overhaul, it doesn't cost any more than the old one did. Polaris used to refer to the smaller Ranger models as midsize. Now they're referring to the same size chassis as two-seat, which in my opinion doesn't really make any sense, since you can get a full-size Ranger with just 2 seats, and you can get a mid-size Ranger Crew that has 4 seats. Nonetheless, they both refer to the same size vehicle. So what's changed? Well, let's start by talking about what hasn't. The 570 mil found in the Ranger 570 two-seater is just as awesome as it's always been. In fact, this motor is an overachiever and can do just about anything a larger size vehicle could do. We love this motor, no matter what vehicle it's found in. In the case of the two-seat Ranger, its 44 horsepower comes on surprisingly smooth for a single. It starts without complaint every time, and it doesn't struggle to push the little Ranger to speeds in the 50-mile-per-hour range or tow up to 1,500 pounds. Simply put, this is a mid-bore motor with a big-bore attitude. Now let's move on to what has changed. And yes, the engine is about the only thing that actually hasn't. Suspension, for example, has been completely revised at all 4 corners with a 12% increase in travel. And this change is more evident on the trail than you might think. 12% more travel equates to about 1 inch at each corner. There was never any argument amongst Dirt Trax staff that the old midsize Ranger rode great. And likewise, there's no argument now that this new two-seat model rides even better. The most obvious changes to the new two-seat Ranger 570 relate to its appearance. From a long distance, it's almost difficult to tell it apart from its full-size siblings thanks to a complete visual overhaul. But new plastics are just the tip of the iceberg. Yes, it looks more aggressive, which is cool, but that's just sizzle. The steak is really the larger glove box, in-dash and behind-seat storage area, and 68-liter under-seat storage bin, all of which ensure you have more than enough places to stow your stuff. A tilt steering column solves any driver fitment issues you may have had with the old midsize. And the au jus for that tasty cut of prime rib you've got? How about a ProFit ready roll cage, just like the full-size Ranger? Polaris's ProFit system has revolutionized side-by-side accessory integration. It's slick, it's fast, and the final product looks like it was meant to be there. We describe it as automotive. Call it whatever you want, it's the best in the biz. Adding a windshield takes seconds, and it flush mounts with the roll cage for a factory-looking fit. The roof, well, it just clips on. Doors, that's easy, and they seal tight like your car doors do. The rear window fits just like the front one. In fact, you can mount a front and rear window and the roof in under a minute. The Ranger 570 we've been testing is the upscaled EPS model. It comes from the factory with slick aluminum wheels, cool paint, and, of course, one of the industry's best power steering systems. Its MSRP is $11,700 US, which is about on par with other companies' base model, no-frills midsize utility offerings. But to be honest, the most impressive Ranger 570 is the base model. Not because it has any additional features or capabilities. Of course it doesn't, it's a base model. But it retails for $99.99 US. That's full MSRP. This means you can get what we feel is the industry's best mid-size utility side-by-side with Polaris's outstanding 570 ProStar mill, 10 inches of suspension travel, 10 inches of ground clearance, 1,500 pounds towing, and 1,000 pounds payload capacity, on-demand 4x4 with turf mode, ProFit accessory integration, and tilt steering for under 10,000 bucks. If that's not the industry's best deal, well, we don't know what is.
Hauling your ATV or side-by-side is all a part of off-roading, and when you have a Diamondback cover and use their included ramps, it makes it simple, easy, and safe. Traditional ramps for your tailgate can be dangerous if not properly secured. And let's be honest, most people don't properly secure them. When using a Diamondback safety ramp, you not only have a significantly reduced approach angle, you also have multiple built-in safety features to ensure a positive connection for easy loading and unloading. Thanks to the ramp attachment bars on your Diamondback cover, your included safety ramps actually lock on to your Diamondback. Add to this the increased sidewall on the ramps and you have a very safe and secure loading system that actually promotes proper alignment of the tires and steering system by directing the sidewall of the tire to stay inside of the safety ramp. It's smart, it's safe, and thanks to an all-aluminum construction and folding design, it's lightweight and easy to store. It doesn't get much better than that. And it's for this reason and many more that the crew here at Dirt Trax continue to use our very versatile and safe Diamondback cover and accessories.
Dirt Trax Television has been sponsored by Polaris, the world leader in off-road innovation, Can-Am, the ride says it all, and by Arctic Cat. Share our passion.
If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Dirt Trax TV's YouTube channel so you never miss another update.